Welcome to yet another edition of Hat Talks with Arch. From the feedback on the last two episodes, it was apparent that listeners enjoyed the episodes on consumer activism, which seems to have touched a chord, and as some said, has been a source of inspiration for them to act right. And while I have many more stories on consumer activism saved for future episodes, this episode is about opportunities and taking up the challenge. It is titled, Taking the Current When It Serves. Let me ask you, what defines you? Do you inherently think out of the box? Do you love challenges? Do you believe in yourself and your ability? If you do, listen on, for while this story is of a seafarer and opportunities that came his way, it also relates to anyone else and in any industry. On the subject, let me begin by quoting Shakespeare from Julius Caesar. There is a tide in the affairs of men which, taken at the flood, leads on to fortune. Omitted, all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries. We must take the current when it serves, or lose our ventures. The story. An experienced tanker master, or a captain, restless with stagnation, applies and after a 2-hour-long face-to-face interview with the dean, is admitted to a London university for an intensive MSc program. While he does not pursue the program due to a recession in the West at that time, the interview and subsequent selection gives him confidence about his ability. At that juncture, he decides instead to make a life ashore so he could spend time with his growing children. Now, to give up a master's salary was going to be a big challenge. While applying for a regular employment ashore, he worked as a port captain, supercargo for around $60 per day, gathering experience. He simultaneously tries to sell the concept of on-board training and routine safety and quality audits to ship owners. Alas, he is ahead of his time, and while his idea is well received, no Indian owner wants to indulge. Without regular employment and frustrated at efforts, he called himself a consultant and offers rent-to-superintendent services to set up quality systems, to overlook steel repairs and dry docking of ships, among other services, for various companies at between $150 to $175 per day. Then opportunity one came his way, to start consolidation and freight forwarding for a startup based out of Bangalore. He knows little about the business, yet he takes the opportunity as a challenge, and with a single person to assist and at a princely salary of Rs 7,500 per month, goes on to set up a decent operation out of Bombay and Madras. This also gives him the opportunity to learn the ropes of working in a foreign environment, that of being ashore. Opportunity number two. A few years later, a Bombay-based freight forwarder, which subsequently grew to become the largest consolidator in India, approached him to head and set up their southern operations, which were almost non-existent at the time. While he was still relatively new to this line and could offer no guarantees to this bigger company for the success of the venture, he guaranteed honesty, leadership, the setup of quality processes, and the commitment of at least 2 years of his time. They accepted his condition of independence and freedom to operate, and thus he agreed to pursue it as a challenge for a salary of around 17,000 rupees per month. He added a condition that if the venture worked and the southern operations made money, he wanted a profit share, reflecting confidence in his ability. He left his family in Bangalore and relocated to another city as a bachelor. He inherited a team of 4 and with missionary zeal proceeded to establish a presence. In 6 months, he was on profit share as agreed. In the ensuing 2 years, he built up a company with 28 loyal souls, a branch in Cochin, and appointed an agent in Tuticorin. The company was recognized as a player in South Indian freight management market. In the 2 committed years, his job of SOT, set up, operate, transfer, was done. Opportunity 3. Tragedy struck and a person he knew in customer's business died at an early age of 55 years. The widow approached the now ex-seafarer to assist her in running the company, which at the time was 10 years old. He had no interest or knowledge in custom broking and had other ideas for himself. So to play on her emotions and put her off, he offered to buy her out if she was so inclined, quite certain that she wouldn't agree. Unfortunately, she agreed, and yet another opportunity became a challenge. 10 years later, the traditionally run CHA company was converted to a professionally managed, lean and mean process-based company that was accountable to customers and with a committed and dedicated team that served for long. The company, over the 10 years, with out-of-the-box leadership, added value with new branches and acquiring both MTO and IATA licenses. It had 2 branches, a firm South India footprint, and developed a worldwide agents network. In 10 years, the company in its 20th year of existence had literally become a one-stop shop for managing customer freight expectations. Eventually, after achieving his target of adding value and converting the company into a professionally managed one, he was approached and he divested his shares to a larger group. The gist of the above stories is of opportunities taken and challenges surmounted, none of which were financially attractive to start with. Even in life's events, when offered a lifeline by way of an opportunity, grab it rather than hoping that the next line, if it ever appears, might be better. As in the earlier quote from Shakespeare, "And we must take the current when it serves." But how many will take the opportunity or challenge when it pops up out of the blue, to move away from comfort zones, to relocate, sometimes alone, and offer commitment by way of stability to an organization of at least 2 years? How often have we heard people lament about who they could have been when they had the chance, if they had done that, they should have, they could have, etc. and etc. But they didn't when opportunity came their way. So opportunities were lost. I urge all listeners to look within themselves and realize the potential and richness of the specialized education and training you might have, which along with your work experience could be incomparable to the competition. If you aren't looking only for easy financial gain, can you answer the following honestly? Do you want an opportunity more than anything else? Do you believe in yourself and your ability? Can you recall your education and experience and apply it? Can you, while adapting, also think out of the box? Do you have the confidence and the hunger for challenges? If you answer yes to all the above, then opportunities are not risks and one must dive in. Finally, I will leave you with some food for thought with a quote from Alfred Lord Tennyson's Ulysses. "Yet all experience is an arch wherethrough gleams that untroubled world, whose margin fades. Forever and forever when I move, how dull it is to pause to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though to breathe were life. Life piled on life were all too little, and of one to me little remains." You have one life. Grab the opportunities that come your way. Think about it and act. While you remember to like, share and subscribe. Till the next episode, this is Captain John signing off.